Hello, happy Monday, and it is happy. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
This is Back of the Net. We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel. We are fans of a Premier League club that's got a win, Tom. Relief, jubilation, elation.
Yeah, all the shuns, yeah, absolutely amazing, mate. I'm just so relieved. It felt so pivotal. We all talked about it in the lead up. We knew how big this game was and how important it was to get the win by any means necessary. And the performance was good, which obviously we'll go on to, but yeah, I just made the relief when that final whistle went. Just, we've done it finally. And you could see it on not only the players, but also Andoni on the pitch. You could just see that relief. And really just chuff for everyone involved in the club. And hopefully now we can kick on because we've got some nice fixtures.
Nice fixtures. If you're brand new to the channel and you've not seen us before, if you're a Clarets fan wanting to have a perspective on what Bournemouth fans think of you, well, this is the show. We've also got some fan cams that we did after the show, and plus the matchday vlog, which you're welcome to check out as well. Plus, when we visit you later in the year, we'll be doing an away day guide as well as covering the game, of course. And yeah, we'll be chatting about Vincent Kompany, about your club, about your footballing style, and whether we think you'll be above or below us at the end of the season. Who knows? So if you want to like the video, I appreciate the fact that your team has lost, but you can. Also, you might want to
click the subscribe button. Yeah, do it. It'll be easier for you to follow us then. And like I say, we do lots of Premier League stuff, and you are a Premier League club at the moment. Maybe for the foreseeable. And yeah, we'll talk about that. And you can look back on some of our previous videos where I think that's what's interesting going into Burnley slightly, is that both of us thought they'd be absolutely fine and thought they'd be knocking on mid-table potentially. And I think that was the general consensus, a bit like Fulham last season. So yeah, it's not quite working for them at the moment, but I think it's one of them things that might take a bit of time for them to adapt. But yeah, we'll get into it. So click subscribe, and yeah, I'm looking forward to. I know you like Burnley away, don't you? You like Burnley away.
Okay.
You do like it because you've got that little cricket ground and you get to watch some cricket and all this rubbish. But yeah, can't wait for Burnley away. Hopefully it won't be too pivotal at that point of the season for us.
So, Bournemouth 2, Burnley 1 was the full-time result at Dean Court on Saturday. And it's all smiles here on Back of the Net. That's Iraola's third win in all competitions in his first 12 games. I'm going to play devil's advocate now, mate. Gary O'Neill.
Yeah.
He only secured one win in all competitions in his first 12 games as permanent head coach. Iraola in. Look, we're so relieved. It wasn't a perfect performance, but we saw some signs. But how much do you gauge that kind of performance against a team that is, hate to say it, so poor, because they were.
Yeah, and surprisingly poor as well. This is not us having a dig at Burnley, but obviously we're a team on the floor in terms of confidence. And they never felt like they worried us too much. They scored a great individual goal, of course. And yeah, they're obviously going to have moments in a football match. But I was surprised because I've said this in the preview and on previous shows we've done, that I've actually felt a little bit sorry for Burnley in terms of I've watched them a few times and I actually think they've looked all right. Yeah. And they've maybe lacked that cutting edge, the clinicality in both boxes. I remember the Man U one off the top of my head, a good goal from United, but Burnley were a better team. So I was kind of a bit like, I know everyone's thinking we're going to win, but I don't think they're that bad. And for some reason, it just didn't work, and I just didn't think they functioned properly. They looked like they couldn't quite get to grips with what the manager wanted them to do. The midfield went up to it, and we've said a lot this season that, and we didn't have a defensive midfield player on the pitch, not a natural one. And teams have been catching us in between that and the defence. And not once could I remember them running in on our back four, which in previous games, every single team has done. So it surprised me a lot. But equally, maybe it is that thing of, I think I said to you at half-time on the vlog, that it's clearly two teams that are on the floor in terms of confidence. And maybe just being at home and just having that bit of a boost, we just managed to just have a little bit more bravery on the ball, I felt at times, and took the game to them. But I think they missed their kind of focal point in Lyle Foster. I think that needs to be said. I do think they missed that. But yeah, they were poor. So it's a bit of both, getting the balance thing. We made them poor, potentially. But yeah, I don't think they were very, very good and they weren't on it. And yeah, they definitely played better this season. We
chat to a few Burnley fans after the game, including Visit as well, just on direct message. We also had him on the opposition preview, and he suggested that they can't pass out from the back. Tick, yeah, we saw that. The midfield or lack of there don't really seem to have the ability to support or, perform the style of play that he wants. And you can see that because that, you know, they were trying to do things, but technically they just weren't up to it. And
Yeah.
our press seemed to, for once, actually work. And look, we'll get on to that because we're going to cover the nuts and bolts of the game. And it's one we're looking forward to doing for once. But for the 2023-24 season, Back of the Net is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game.
Yeah, Green King Sports venue just showing every televised Cherries fixture over the course of the season. So instead of turning to the internet for a dodgy stream, get your mates together, get down to your local green pub and get closer to the action.
Yeah, this season, Green King, they've launched the Green King Sport Instagram page, which will be the home of fan content deals and competitions throughout the season. They've already given away Champions League final tickets and signed shirts, so you don't want to miss out. Plus, you do get a 10% with the app during a match day as well in your local pub as well, Andy.
Oh, lovely. So yeah, just drop them a follow on the Instagram. You won't just be the first to know about all this, but you'll also be helping out the channel Back of the Net, so we really appreciate it.
Right, so let's check out the league table.
Yes,
then,
please,
and
Sammy.
Tom, it's a beautiful thing because after having 10 games, we've registered a W. There we are. We are on 6 points. Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United, the 3 promoted sides are all rooted in that relegation zone. We have got a little bit of a gap that's just established above us after Everton's, could you call it, shock win at West Ham?
Away,
Probably.
I'd say so, yeah. And that was annoying because, like you say, there's 3 points there. So if they just had them on 7, it would look a lot nicer. But yeah, we're above the dotted line at the moment, mate. That's all that matters for us.
We are, but before the game, we all knew how important it would be. We'll just touch on, look, we spoke about it in the vlog, but I didn't really chat to you much about the Neto issue because I was being very cynical about his kind of ankle injury and the way he was omitted. Fans were calling for change. It happened. I don't know how the timeline of events transpired on the Friday, but there was no mention of Travers in Iraola's press conference. I don't think it had been confirmed at that point in time, but he was called back. I gather Stoke had to agree to it. They did. I think we had sort of certain stipulations that meant it was okay to do. We couldn't just call him back willy-nilly. We needed a reason for it. And Neto's injury was that. Travers was back, and then fans were debating, well, you know, maybe he should be put in goal. But I think after Iraola said that Radu would start, then he had to really. And what would that say about recruitment and the team spirit and morale, the fact that he's been training within Andoni Iraola's squad to then not be in the team?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think easy obviously to say in hindsight, but I know chatting to you in the pub and stuff, I felt that, you never know, but I felt that it was always going to be Radu. I think, like you said, a few things you mentioned. I mean, we don't know, like you say, with the time frame that he kind of might not have known that Travers back to the last minute anyway. But I think he knew Neto was out. He'd been working with Radu, and you've got to remember he hasn't really seen Travers. It's not like someone in charge that's been there years as a manager and knows everything about Travers, so goes, I can trust him, just chuck him in. So he would play in a certain way, and I think you've got to give Radu that opportunity. We know he has to play on Wednesday in the Cup anyway, because Travers can't. So I think that's fair to kind of go, you know, Radu, you're having this game. You know, you've got another opportunity on Wednesday. If you do all right in them 2 games, you got the shirt, but you know that Travers is there now. And it's a good position to be in because Radu's got the shirt now. But we know if he has a dodgy performance, Travers can come straight in. So, and obviously going into the game, I was pleased that he didn't have any shaky moments. But yeah, I wasn't too surprised that it was Radu, but nice to see Travers back. That does help our hand massively that he is available. Because obviously we don't know a lot about Radu. Probably a nice game in hindsight for him to come into because they didn't cause him too many problems.
This was always going to be a big game for Iraola, like looking at his lineup, what was he going to do? And at 2 p.m. the teams came out. And by the way, before that though, the heavens opened. I mean, they were open throughout most of the afternoon, mate. It was, and how ironic is it?
I know.
On the first day that umbrellas are banned from Dean Court, the club sent out information about why this was, and also flasks. Apparently, people are sometimes putting flares inside flasks to disguise them, which is mad. Is it? Does that really happen?
I don't know, mate. Don't know.
So transparent flasks is the way forward now. Can you even get transparent hot drinks flasks?
I think the problem is you can get them, but they're like glass, so surely they can't be in. I don't really know, mate. But it was like you say. The irony of it when they got banned was when it was like awful. I mean, I don't expect it to be that bad at another game. I can't remember on Roe E. And I can't remember. Do you remember that Fulham game on Boxing Day in the Championship?
Yeah, I do.
That was the last time I can remember getting wet and rowy.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd just miss
so
it because I'm high enough. But there was one moment in the game where the wind come in and everyone was just like, what is going on here? Yeah, it was mad. But fortunately, at half-time, I could have me beer outside because it stopped at that point.
It stopped at that point. In terms of umbrellas, though, people just expected to leave them outside, were they? Because they had to leave them in a box.
I think there was a box of sort, because after the game, everyone was going in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be picking out the best one and going, but I don't know what others did.
I don't know if Neil Blakes was in there with them or not.
Saw
him with a brolly.
These were the team lineups, and you know what? This is how. First thing that struck me, mate, is how British that lineup looked compared to previous games that we've had, like Solanke, Tavernier, Christie, Semenyo, Scott, Kelly, Mepham, Aarons.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't think of that. That's good. Yeah, good little notice there, mate. I didn't really notice that, but yeah, interesting. But as I say, I think I got 9 on both teams out of 11, which is respectable, I would say. Went with Radu, and I was glad he went with because you always debate that wide position, and we said in the preview, didn't we, about Semenyo just being a bit more of a goal threat. I think he's earned the right now. He hasn't played in a few games and we haven't performed, so let's get him back in there, which was good. I just thought Rothwell would come in for a bit of protection and didn't anticipate Mepham coming back in. But was not disappointed with them changes. And obviously, from their perspective, they decided to go with Vitinho at the right back. I thought he really struggled, by the way. I know he's not their natural one because Colin Roberts suspended. And they didn't have Foster, which meant that Gudmundsson played as well. So yeah, there was a few things that surprised me, but I wasn't like, oh no, what are we doing? I just thought that is interesting with that midfield three. But it gives us the flexibility quite comfortably to go to a back three with wing backs in game if we need to. Kelly naturally can tuck in. Tavernier then goes to a wing back position. Semenyo can go and join Dom Solanke. It was nice to have that flexibility, I felt. Did
you think it was odd to not have Kirkes in the lineup?
I did. I was surprised at that.
I mean, he's a little bit egotistical, isn't he? I mean, the fact that in his programme notes he said that you're not actually egotistical, this is a joke, but on his Come Dine With Me in the AFC Bournemouth programme, your favourite 5 dinner guests, me, Milos, me, Milos, me, Milos. Yeah. Part of me was thinking, have they just put that in as a placeholder and forgot to maybe put the actual guests in? Maybe. Or does he just want to attend a dinner party with himself? Either way, audacious, ballsy, I like that.
Sometimes the way he runs around, I think he's 5 people anyway. I mean, you can never fault his start to a career at Bournemouth, to be honest. People forget, I think, that he's a teenager. Yeah. Very young, very raw. He's had to play a lot of football because he's had to play in the cup as well because of injuries and we're not having many left-back options. And he's also played every time he's gone out on international duty. So I don't think it's a bad thing that he's been able to be rotated for this one. And I think, as I say, it's easier to do it after the fact. But you look at their main threat, looking at their team, you'd say it's Koleosho.
Yeah.
Lloyd Kelly dealt with him well.
I thought he was going to be playing on the other side, Koleosho.
I thought he might, but he obviously played Zaruri, if that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, he obviously, maybe Andoni knew that and went with Kelly in there. But maybe he just wanted to get Meps back in as well and thought, but I need Kelly in there for his recovery. But good that we got that flexibility. I expect to see Kirkes in at least one of the 2 games this week. But it's good to have them options, mate. I don't want... No disrespect to Kirk, I don't want him to have to be relying on him every single game, every single week at 19 years old. I want him to know that he can come in and out of the team. And then it ended up, because we were only a goal ahead, great option to have. Because him with full of energy, coming on as kind of left-back, wing-back, to see out a game is ideal. So, I was, like I say, I was a bit like, I'm surprised Milos ain't there. But I wasn't like, oh no. Because we know Kelly could do a job there. And we keep saying it. It's ironic, really, when in previous seasons, Meps has always had an error in him. Now I think, you can rely on Meps. Do you know what I mean? And he was brilliant, I thought.
Zabani's also played every minute of every Premier League game this season.
He has indeed. Nice. So he's one that, obviously this isn't a preview for Wednesday's game, but he's one now. We've got Mepham back, Kelly back. Not sure about Senesi because I know he's had a knock, but that might be a game to take him out because he's playing in internationals as well. Yeah. But I think, barring that error against Everton, I think he knows that he's pretty much nailed on, I think, and it's who his partner's going to be because, I do think he's been pretty solid and, again, very young.
Yeah, so the game kicked off. Look, I think it wouldn't be right if we didn't mention the lack of a Red Army chant at the start of the game, which we all know has been missing recently. Last time round, it was a 1-minute silence was the potential reason for that. And then again in this game, applause for Sir Bobby and Bill Kenwright, but many thought that there was no reason to really exclude it from this particular pre-match. And as a result, there was actually a fair bit of booing that was going on. look, I'm sure the club have been made aware of this, and given the relentless stream of tweets that I'm seeing to like Mike Botto, Jim Favola, etc., during the game and after it, they know how fans are feeling, and there is undoubtedly an instant reaction from us amid a period of huge change at the club that, you know, you could be cynical about its exclusion, like ripping up the history books and like new ownership making their mark on the Premier League. However, I suspect that the silence on the matter perhaps indicates that it's an issue which is probably a bit delicate for whatever reason. So any online conjecture about it, I think, is probably not appropriate at this point in time. I know it seems like we're adding to it now, but we're not going to analyse it to death here. But what we can do in the meantime is certainly as fans is sing whatever we want, including that song as well, and just get behind the boys. And you know what? I think we did get behind the boys. A lot of people have commented that was one of the best atmospheres that we've had at Dean Court this season. And we always have those games where we must win. We didn't have to win.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
You know, in our heads, it was all a must-win game.
Yeah.
And I thought the crowd rose to it this time. I thought we were really good.
Yeah, we were. And I think that we've always said about how it's kind of part to play for both people. And I think we saw the endeavour. We saw that we were well in the game and the better side, and they needed that boost. I think what was hard in the Wolves game, where we were in that game right till the end, obviously going to get a point until right at the end. I think what was hard is it was hard to get up for it because of Lewis's red card. I felt like everyone went, oh, here we go again. It was inevitable, and it felt and that was hard. But yeah, no, credit to all the fans. I thought we were brilliant, and I think Andoni would have loved hearing. I mean, his name was chanted throughout, and I think that was a real sign of kind of that. Look, we're still here. We're still together. We're not a fan base that's going, look, we haven't won all season. We want you out. We know you need us now, and we're here. And I thought the players rose to that, and it was just great. Every time the ball went out, everyone's getting up for it, and we could see that, you know, it was no fault of their own that, you know, we haven't won football matches. There's been individual errors, but I think it showed in that game. It was not for the lack of trying, is what I'm trying to say. And that the press was better. And all that sort of stuff, I just think, just feeds onto the fans. Like, we weren't winning the game for a large part of it.
No, that's right,
we even went behind. But I think when you could see little bits, and it wasn't that we were playing badly, and there was just a few little snapshots, a few little breakaways, and you just think, you know, that's enough for us to, you know, to get behind you. It's a good hit for their first goal. It is what it is. So, that was really pleasing, mate, and hopefully we can kick that on going forward.
We all know, of course, that the board do listen to the fans, because when they sing a manager's name, they make decisions on the back of that. So
he's in now.
What's this, a 10-year contract for Iola? I don't know, but it was great to hear the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But it was silenced. And you know what? They got a corner, which I thought was needless, because Zabani, like, the ball was fired across the box, and he really should have just pumped it up towards the halfway line, maybe, or just, you know, towards the main stand. But he must have miskicked it, because he sort of grimaced.
Yeah,
the camera panned on him, and he's like, "I've miskicked that." Gave away a corner, which led to the goal.
It's a difficult one because he's a miles better footballer than me, so I'd like to think he'd do better. But
is he?
It's up to you to decide. But I've done that so many times. Ball goes in, you know in your head, right, just clear that up the pitch. And for some reason, because you know you've got to clear it, you just have a little tiny slice. And it only just went out for a corner, really, didn't it? But yeah, you could see, like you said, they went to his face and he thought, I could have avoided the corner there. But it wasn't that we dealt with it horrifically, but I don't think that lad scored for him at ex-Leeds as well.
No.
Try to tell you. But I'm right behind that. I know where you sat, you must have been close as well. And he hit it perfectly. It was interesting. I think it was very close. I think he probably was just, but you can see Radu can't quite see.
Well, this is what leads me, because Neil Moss tweeted this. Like, he doesn't really understand the offside rule anymore, and I sort of can see where he's coming from when you see this first picture, because you think, hang on, he's got to look through a melee of players. So I think he's talking about their number 19, who it looks like he's between the ball and Radu, but then Radu is kind of peering around the corner a little bit, and then there's another angle that he presented on his tweet that shows that he's clearly offside. But then when you look at my angle, when I'm behind the goal, nearly behind the ball here, the actual ball at this point in time is just in front of Phil Billing, really. So 19's not overly in the way, given where the ball goes, but he's got to peer through a number of bodies, really. It's not just him. So I would have been aggrieved if that was ruled out for offside had we scored that goal.
Yeah, no, I kind of appreciate what you're saying there. So that's a really tough one. I remember because they did have a little quick check, didn't they? But I think at first they said they were checking around ball, didn't they, or something? I don't know what's going on. We never know. But yeah, it's a difficult one. And Neil Moss will know more than me in terms of being a goalkeeper. That I guess he's going to be a little bit more, feel sorry for Radu there because he has had to change his moment. But like you said, he probably would have had to peer past Phil Billing anyway.
Yeah.
It is a difficult one, but don't take anything away from the strike because I think we said at half time, mate, that you never know if it did take a little nick, but it didn't. He's hit that perfectly off his left foot. Really, really good strike. And I remember he'd sat there going, "Oh, you are joking." I mean, this guy never scores, and he's hit it like a rocket past us. He thought this is typical of how our season's going, and I think that's as we mentioned about the atmosphere. I think that was why because we didn't. I remember at Everton. They scored after an individual error, Zabani, and a goal you think, oh, for God's sake. And it felt like the lads felt sorry for themselves a little bit. Yeah. This game, that wasn't that. We just went straight, right, go on, brush ourselves off, And I think that's them sort of things are what, gives the fans hope and gives them, you know what I mean? Because you think, you know what, they've scored a screamer, but the lads go, there's loads of time left, they were playing all right. And it never stopped us from having that endeavour, and we knew, I think Adoni mentioned it after the game. We went 1-0 up against Wolves. It's quite quickly changing football. So I was really pleased to see us just continuing on the front foot even after that goal.
We had a few chances, didn't we? Tavernier.
Oh, Tav.
I mean, I didn't quite realise how good that chance was until I watched it back. Tough one. He should have been doing better there. He put it into the turf, didn't he? It just bounced over. But what a ball through from Semenyo though, across.
Oh, brilliant!
He just whipped it across, and there were multiple instances of that kind of ball throughout the game as well. So it's obviously been an instruction to get it in the box as early as you can. And
yes, definitely.
Tavernier, right place, right time, wrong finish, and he would have been. He would have been thinking that over. Well, had we dropped points in that game,
of course,
he'd have been tossing and turning in the night thinking of that chance.
Yeah, and I really like there's something about when you've got wingers, so right and left, when one of them puts the ball in and the other one gets to the end of it. I just really like that. I think that's what you're told to do, aren't you? One of your wingers gets down the line, the other one's got to be coming at the back post. And what I say about, I'm sure we'll get on to Semenyo a little bit, but what he showed there and what showed later on was that he's putting balls in like a winger, but then he's striking like a centre forward. He's got both of them attributes, which is amazing. But it was a big chance. It's them fine margins where he hits that ball into the ground. If it lobs over Trafford and goes into the court, everyone's going, what technique to put it into the ground just to lob him. Like, it was horrible, but as soon as it hit the ground, you knew it was going to go too high. Real shame, because like you said, it feels like, that could be one at half time where we're going, we should be level. But Antoine had other ideas, mate.
Yeah, that's right. And our high press was paying off. I mean, Burnley, they didn't look overly confident on the ball. They seemed to have a fair bit of the ball. They weren't doing much with it. They barely got into our final third, really, after their first goal. I can't really remember them having any other shots in the first half. One, I think, that was a P-roller that Radu was easily behind. But other than that, absolutely nothing. But some really good pressing from Semenyo. Just, slightly out-muscled his marker.
Yes.
And then, just ran directly onto his left foot, and then what a lovely finish into the corner of the net, and that's what we want to say. That's what Semenyo brings us.
Just plays with her, which is weird because he's not been in the team, but he's playing with a lad full of confidence. I don't know if I don't check it out too much, but I think Ghana have qualified and stuff, and I don't know whether he's in good spirits. Stuff. He's been away on international. He knows he'll get his chance. Maybe Andoni said to him, we've got a lot of wingers, you know that. You will get your opportunity to just stay and the fact that he's drove onto his weak side with so much confidence, just put the ball into the bottom corner. It was really impressive, and
it's just that directness, and you sort of knew what a lot of players are always looking to offload it at that point in time. Maybe
Tav was quite close to him, and
he could have easily laid it off.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and that's what we've seen from Antoine in the short spell, really. It was chuffed for him, and he was doing that all game, and like you say, that press, and another player, Ryan Christie, who we all. It's weird, isn't it? Because I'm sure we'll get on to different bits, but I've been thinking straight away with Alex Scott's performance. Imagine, even though we've not got Adams, imagine when it's Scott, Cook and Billing. That's going to be great. And I go, but again, Christie's press helps us so much.
Yeah, he did.
But it was almost, don't get me wrong, he's probably been forced into it because of Lewis's suspension, but it was the perfect game for Christie, and he gives us so much. So it's a real weird one with Christie. Because his press is so good, and then he gets the ball and you think, is he going to do anything? But the whole press in general was really impressive, and Antoine was part of that as well.
Christie, I think, was instrumental in a couple of chances. I mean, when Semenyo cutting on his left foot to hit a shot, I think it took a deflection, then went out for a corner, shooting towards a Ted Mack, and it was a lovely ball from Christie with the outside of his right foot, just bending it between a couple of defenders and got Semenyo off, which was really nice to see. And then also, we had was it Tavernier on the left-hand side, tried to fire the ball across quickly, but then I think they played it out for a goal, so it was a corner.
Yeah, Scott took it.
And Alex Scott. Now, let's talk about our set pieces.
Phew.
I mean, free kicks were better, corners were better, Tavernier was taking it from one side usually, Alex Scott from the other, but Scott delivered this one.
Yes.
And it was over the first man, which was something that we haven't seen for a long time, at pace. And one of them landed right onto the head of Chris Mepham. He was right place, right. Great header, but great save by the keeper as well.
Yeah, it was. He couldn't do a lot else. He got a clean header on it. But yeah, like you say, set piece was better all day, and it was one of them weird ones because it was right on the time I was about to go down, right? And I went, and so the person next to me went, "Are you going?" Because they know that I'll go around that time. I went, "Wait for this Mepham goal," like as a joke, and then obviously the corner comes in and Mepham gets it, and everyone's around me going, "Oh my god, that'd have been class." But yeah, and to be fair, I don't think people appreciate how Mepham is a little bit of a threat from corners. Yeah. I always remember Sheffield United on the opening day one season where he scored from a corner. I remember him during COVID scoring against Watford late on. And yeah, he is a bit of a threat because he will throw himself in there. But yeah, really, really good delivery from Alex Scott. He had one direct free kick later in the second half that, yes, was never going to go in, but you could see the technique of him trying to bend it into the top corner. So yeah, that's a real positive that, if we can, you look at some of our players, like I say, Meps, but even if you're saying Lloyd Kelly, if you're saying Zabali, they're good in the air.
Yeah.
So it needs to be something. We've seen Celeste in the past score headers. So yeah, we need to look at that because when in a lot of games you're going to be up against it, you need to have that weapon of causing these problems from set pieces. So that was a definite positive.
But Chris Mepham being Chris Mepham, it wouldn't surprise me if he then wasn't played for the next league game. Like that's and I don't understand it because he had such a really good performance. I don't think he really put a foot wrong. I thought he was excellent.
Or he'll have what normally happens with Meps is he comes back, plays really well, gets a knock.
Yeah.
So then someone comes in, he can't get his place out. Or we get a knock at right back and he has to play there.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I feel for him. But I love it if he just keeps himself in the side now and just suddenly... Because he shows as well, for Wales, he's always the first name on the team sheet, centre-half. He kept the clean sheet against Croatia, I think. He's a top centre-half, mate. So, yeah, I was really pleased for him, and he had a good game, as you say, and it would have been the icing on the cake if he had put that header in. But nice to see him being a threat from them positions as well.
Yeah, so Bill Foley was obviously chuffed. A lot of Bournemouth fans felt aggrieved that we maybe should have had a free kick towards the end of the half where it looked like the keeper handballed it outside the box. Did you actually see that?
No, I've seen it back.
Yeah,
obviously, it didn't see it back on Match of the Day.
I still can't tell, but I mean, it looked like he ran out of the box with both feet planted firmly on the ground outside of the line, yet still holding it. But apparently, it was checked. So
yeah, obviously they went into loads of detail on Match of the Day on that. They did not show that.
No, I didn't realise with with throw-ins.
I do know a throw-in, Sam, yeah.
Yeah, I always thought, so when I was a kid, when I learnt how to do throw-ins...
The rules are probably changed.
Ball behind the back, and I had to have your feet, not touching the line, but behind the line. Now, the back of your heel can be...
Oh, is it just if any parts touch the line?
Oh, okay. So I wonder if that's the same with the goalkeeper as well. Is it only handball when their feet are completely outside the box?
Oh, maybe.
Or can the, can the last stud on your heel...
Maybe,
be overhanging the line? I don't know. Maybe Neil Moss can clarify.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I honestly don't know them. But yeah, like you say, it just looked like, whether it was or not, I'm not going to say it was definitely handball, but just the things I've seen, I think surprised that wasn't looked at, or we've seen a few angles to see. But
VAR on the whole though is pretty good, isn't it? Piss off. VAR's great. We also had a chance with Lloyd Kelly as well, who stuck out a boot, and that was going towards goal as well. Probably didn't get the power on it, but nice to see us committing players forward, which was what we want to see. And we saw it more in the second half as well. And the second half performance I thought was great. And this is where a number of players I think came into their own a bit, including a certain Alex Scott as well, who I thought was mustard on the ball. Really, really good. Max Aarons was growing into the game as well. Really good on that right hand side. When he was hauled down, it was almost like a rugby tackle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, a booking didn't seem sufficient enough, but red card would have probably been harsh. In the middle, yeah.
Yeah, so you get a few of them sometimes where you think, well, I wouldn't want the red, but yellow just feels like, oh, come on. You can get a lot less for yellow. But yeah, it was the way he hauled him down, wasn't he? But yeah, Max, I thought, we'll touch on him because he's a fullback that they often get overlooked a little bit when you have a good performance, which is understandable. I think I've said to you off air, you could really make a case for nearly anyone getting man of the match, which is the first time that's happened all season. But Max, I thought, was absolutely brilliant. He ran himself into the ground, obviously had to come off late on. But I thought that was arguably his best performance. And he's been consistent all the way, really. But it was more that, I wonder if it was a little bit, because obviously we normally play Kirkers on the other side. maybe because of that, he's got to be a little bit careful. We don't want both fullbacks to always bomb on. Whereas because it was Kelly who can naturally tuck in, maybe he was given a bit more of a licence to go, because I think you certainly saw him run up the pitch a little bit more.
True, yeah.
And yeah, I really like this. I really like his performance, and he looks like an absolute bargain already, doesn't he?
So as we can see from the match timeline there, he was indeed booked. If you just go back a little bit though, a certain person came on for Burnley, someone who likes scoring at Dean Court, Jay Rodriguez. Maybe we'll be talking about him later in the show. Maybe, maybe not as well.
Nathan Redmond late on as well, another ex-scummer.
Exactly. We
said in the preview, I remember saying to you, if we're winning and they bring on the 2 scummers, I'm going to start worrying. And I thought that's going to bite me, as we'll find out later on.
Solanke had a flicked shot with a early ball into the box. Nice little technique.
Nearly another one. He done that against Wolves pretty much, didn't he? Little flick. He's quite good at that, getting across his... I think that's a way that... I mean, Andoni said it, and you saw it on the match of the day analysis that they did on Bournemouth, was we're obviously trying to get more balls in the box. And I think sometimes that doesn't mean chucking them in the air. I think sometimes them little slide balls across, Dom's quite good. If I think about the amount of goals he scored, he just nicks in front of the first man and a little flick. And you can see that was obviously something, an instruction. And he got across his man well, but it's obviously a really difficult one to execute.
But mate, why score from 2 yards out when you can score from 42.2 yards? Philip Billing.
What a player.
Oh my God.
That is Philip Billing in a nutshell.
I mean...
He's got that in him. We've been saying it all season about him playing a little bit higher up, blah, blah, blah. And it's because we know he's a good player in general, but if you just get him in them moments, in them positions, he's one of our few players, probably, let's be honest, that's got that bit of magic, little bit of magic that's something out of nothing.
It barely seemed to have any back. So like he played it and it wasn't the height. It was just like the pace of the ball. It was it was everything.
I love the confidence of it as well, because if he slices that, which is easy to do, everyone is screaming. We're in. Yeah. Tavernier's in.
Yeah, he was calling for it.
Yeah,
he was calling for it.
We were in, and you thought this is a really good match. I think we overran them a little bit, and you thought we got a good chance of scoring.
We were overrunning them in midfield a lot, I thought, and Alex Scott was a crucial part of that as well, and Billing, of course.
Definitely. But yeah, I thought we're in it, and then he's in it. I thought, what is he? Do you know what I mean? Like, so the confidence of that, it was brilliant. Really nice when little things like that happen, where obviously it takes the genius of Phil, but them also saying, the staff and the players all going, it was something we looked at.
Well, yeah, he said when he was watching the goal back on AFCB TV, that's something that they'd noticed. And I noticed that when they were just playing their little sort of interplays in the second half, like Trafford's outside the box here. Like, what's he doing there?
He's a very modern goalkeeper in terms. You can see why they signed him in that sense. If you want to play that way, he's one that they almost want to make him an extra player when they've got the ball, because he's virtually like a sweeper and he'll just go and get the ball, and he's good with his feet. So because of where the ball was and they had it at first, he's always going to be high, because if they're in trouble, they just want to knock it back to him. Yeah. And the fact that Phil just quickly had a glance up and thought that was brilliant. And he, like you say, he got hand to it, but it was bang on. So yeah, I was absolutely delighted for him. He obviously got a booking, taking his shirt off, but nice message. And yeah, luckily he wasn't already on a booking or anything. But really nice moment, mate. And good time in the game. Good time in the game. And you're thinking, oh my God, here it comes. 3 points, baby.
Iraola's reaction on the touchline, it reminded me a little bit of when Parker celebrated after Kiefer Moore's winner against Nottingham Forest. Yeah. He was going mental, and then he was like, oh yeah, calm down, concentrate.
Come on, we've got 50 minutes.
Sort of laughed at himself there. His substitutions that he made towards the end of the game, some people said he's been a bit negative here, because they were the kind of subs that maybe a previous manager would make. Can you understand why?
Yeah.
Just wanting to protect what he's got. I think when we're in the mindset that we're in, it's no wonder you would do that and try to protect what you've got.
I disagree with any of them being negative, actually. I think what's mad is because I'm not convinced.
I mean, Tavernier and Billing being replaced by Rothwell and Kirkes.
Yeah, that's not... For me, you're going... Billing... obviously, more the game's going on. Christie's doing that press, and then Alex Scott and Billing are sat there. So Rothwell is not... I think everyone's forgetting, Rothwell's not a defensive midfield player. He just had to play there. Yeah. So Rothwell and Billing, similar in terms of... Rothwell used to like to be a little bit advanced with Blackburn. Minos Kirkes for Tavernier. Minos Kirkes is not a defensive-minded player. Yes, he plays as a fullback, but that's just giving you more energy on that side. That's just an energy thing. And weirdly, I was going to say that I'm surprised how much time he uses Ouattara over other wingers. Regardless, I've just realised he come on before the goal, so game changer. And then errands for Smith is like for like. I don't think that's. Don't get me wrong, we didn't have him on the bench, but say you went billing for Senesi, that's different.
Yeah.
I don't think that's. I actually felt, and what people, I don't know if everyone realised it, about a minute before the goal, Brooks and Sinisterra was stripped.
Right.
So what I'm assuming is Billing was coming off for Brooks, so Brooks was going to go on for Billing, that's attacking, and then he was going to take Tavernier off for Sinisterra. Yeah. So that was going to be go and win the game, which I like, because it was 1-1. He could have gone, we're not going to lose. Yeah. But he didn't. He was going to do that, and then as soon as the goal went in, everyone looked over, and them two just sat back down. Bless them. I thought they were the right changes. Obviously, it's easy to say when we... and I don't think Smith was going to come on, but Aarons went down. Yeah. And Smith, to be fair, I don't mind that. I think Smith is quite... We all know that we've upgraded in that position, but I think last 5 minutes of a game, Smithy's quite good at winning the off foul, being a bit of a leader at the back. I don't mind that too much. So yeah, I mean, put it this way, is there any other changes we would have made different? I probably would have chosen a Cliver over a Ouattara at the moment, but it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was actually
fine. So then, we saw the game out, and there was no other drama for the remainder of the game. I mean, the one time where they actually dominated our midfield, they played it through really well, and it was worked onto the left foot of Jay Rodriguez, who almost scuffs a shot in. I can't really work out the technique, but it sort of loops slightly over Radu into that far corner. Thankfully, whew, I mean, I was crapping my pants. I was crapping myself. But the lino raised his flag. But even still...
Offside, don't worry about it. Move on.
Even still, there's always that doubt, though, isn't there?
Of course.
There's always that doubt.
But it's normally... It happens quite quickly, and then you go, well, I had a bit of doubt, but, they've looked at the screen, they've got all this technology now. Don't worry about it. If he's offside, the technology... Carry on with the game.
If only that...
The funny thing was, you managed to get it quite well with the vlog, was when you heard that there was going to be an announcement, you're thinking, oh God, what is it? And he just goes, 7 minutes at a time. You go, come on.
Botto, what are you doing to me? God. So this, look, you can say, if you're not following us on socials, we're at AFCB Podcast. This was the timeline. 88 minutes and 14 seconds, Burnley scored. After 93 minutes and 42 seconds, as the stadium finally informed that it's offside. So the VAR check was activated about 13 seconds. I watched this back in real time, 13 seconds after the offside. And for the first sort of 2.5 minutes, there were no lines visible on the pitch at all. And they're almost looking which angle that we're taking. And then you saw the lines being drawn, but they were wonky as hell. Not only they were... By the way, did you like my vlog title thumbnail, Unparalleled Incompetency?
Very good.
You know what? It took me 2 minutes, but headline writer, Echo, sign me up.
Took a weekend.
And look, I mean, one, that's not parallel.
It's just mental.
Two, it's
cut off half his body. Have you seen on I think I mentioned it to you.
Talk Sport.
Yeah, do a great little...
Barry Glendenning, yeah.
Yeah, do a great little parody of it, and I think I quote tweeted it, said, it's the worrying thing about this parody, and I was funny, is it's probably quite accurate. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we're laughing about it now because obviously, and let's say this, would I rather them take 5 minutes and eventually get it right, or take 10 seconds and get it wrong? Of course, the former. But what I would say is we're laughing about it now because we won the game and it was all fine. But if they get that wrong, which they very, very nearly did, and all this cock-up that they're having, that could potentially, and in this situation very much so, lose a manager his job. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And we've said this before. Was there no controversy before VAR? Of course there was controversy. It was controversy all the time. But I used to always get really annoyed and then go, it's a referee or a linesman making a mistake. It happens. Now we're going, as an official making a mistake, and then another 3 officials making a mistake with technology. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's not fit for purpose. It's not the only decision of the week. It's not a bad decision. It's not only cock-up of the weekend. There's virtually every game, every single week. It's absolutely crazy. And I just can't believe it took that long. It took nearly 6 minutes.
Yeah, my assumption was, right, that they have... someone might be able to correct me. I think they've got certain cameras positioned along the side of the pitch that they can use the VAR sort of angles with. And I presumed that the parallel lines are almost like pre-programmed for the perspective of where the camera's at. So they can just drag it into place depending on, where the ball is, when the, last defender is, etc. However, to get the angle so badly wrong was just absolutely unbelievable. And look, we talk about the ripple effect and stuff, which is a ripple effect of, the Spurs Liverpool thing.
Yeah, that they're taking more time.
If that didn't happen,
they've probably got that goal.
Yeah, they probably got that. So they, in a way, it's lucky that did happen, because otherwise, they might have been awarded the goal based on the first decision, and then this would be the talking point that everyone's going on about.
Yes, because then the game would have restarted and they wouldn't have been able to bring it back. Whereas maybe now they are going, hang on. Do you know what I mean?
So in a way, it's a good thing, but it should be progress. It should be quicker than that. It has to be quicker than that.
And you mentioned it, mate, and you could tell in the vlog as well. The most frustrating thing, but one of the main frustrations for me as a match-going fan, as you are as well, we have to look at Twitter, to see what's happening. We're at the game, but we don't know what's going on. So we're looking at them and going, oh, apparently he's on. Oh no, they've had a cock up with the lines. We don't know that unless you're looking on your phone.
Yeah, Tom from the Echo is saying that there's all sorts of controversy and conjecture over it. Lines being drawn.
If you're at Goodison Park, you wouldn't know because there's no signal. So it's a good job we had signal in the stadium. I just saw them when you showed the image. I'm not sure because it's hard, obviously, because it's blurred. Is that because obviously it's Jay Rodriguez who scored? Is that Nathan Redmond who played him through? I can't tell.
It might have been.
It just looks like the size of him. It could be that would have been.
Yeah.
But and the irony of it he was offside technically with his head, wasn't he? He scored a header against us before as well, so he definitely should be offside with his head. And when I realised it was Jay Rodriguez, I thought he's done this before for a number of teams. Yeah, it was a worry, but God was that relief. And then as soon as I was relieved, I thought we have got ages to go now, haven't we? We have got
it's going into the hundreds. And you know what I said on Twitter on the Sunday? So James Hayter's fastest hat trick.
That's good. I like that.
It was 140 seconds, 2 minutes 20 seconds, 140 seconds. That's 46.7 seconds a goal. In that 5 minutes 28, what's that? 328 seconds. He would have scored 7 goals.
And he definitely would have. He was absolutely
Who says VAR is killing football?
Oh, mate.
We do.
So frustrating. Listen, end of the day, thank God they got it right. Thank God they sorted themselves out. Yes, within too long a time, no doubt in that. But thankfully, they got it done. And then luckily, there was no more scares at the end, was there?
No,
Radu. I tell you what, looking at it back.
Good save.
Looking at it back, because we always say it when it goes against us. We probably, got away with one. It's a difficult one. But it does touch Mepham.
But you say that though, no Burnley players put their hands up to claim for it whatsoever.
Put Memphis hand up.
Yeah.
But it was, don't get me wrong, it could be, and this is another thing with consistency. You've seen so many weird handballs given that you think anything could be now. Yeah. I don't want them ones given either way, really, because I just think they're almost both dragging each other, so it means his arm goes up. But anyway, to be fair, if he doesn't do that, that's probably why it went on target.
Yeah.
Radu makes a good save, really pleased for him, and then the lad should do better, Sanderberg, for the rebound. He just sticks to it, but I thought he helped them when he come on, actually. I was surprised he didn't get a start. But yeah, just relief, mate. Just relief all round. Radu, no kind of too many shaky moments or anything. I just wanted his first few passes to be fine, just to keep him, comfy and stuff, and that happened. The players that come in were good, no injuries as far as we saw. Everything was just like, yes, it wasn't like we beat them 3-0, but everything was like, there's a tick.
Yeah, it's just speaking of that handball quickly, I think companies' post-match comments.
That's a manager.
Obviously, that's someone trying to protect his reputation, I think, by bringing up an issue no one saw.
Yeah.
But I would be 100% agonised by that issue if I was a Burnley fan, as you naturally would be, because you're looking for anything there. But look, it's so weird. Like, I felt we dominate. I mean, look, the stats we'll put on screen now. I think we only had 45% possession, but we had more shots on goal, both on goal and off target as well. We'll have a look at the shots chalkboard now on screen as well, which shows that. But
better chances as well.
But for all the fact that we thought we dominated the game, it was still only 2-1.
Yeah,
and it was still, and I'm still like, okay, well, we won with a long range wonder goal, and they nearly scored at the end. Plus, they had one ruled out for VAR. Like, were we a bit lucky or not?
No, I don't think we're lucky because, yes, they've had a goal chalked off, but it rightly chalked off. I thought the chances, barring that one right at the end, literally right at the end, our chances were better than their chances as well. And you said about us scoring a wonder goal. They scored a wonder goal from a player that never scores. How many times is he going to hit it like that on his left foot? And if Billing doesn't have that intelligence, he probably slides Tav in and we could score anyway. We were in. I think we deserve a bit of credit. Don't get me wrong, Burnley weren't great. And that's we still showed, and Antonio will know that we're a team lacking confidence here because the players we've got and the way that obviously he wants us to play, we should be winning that more comfortably because Burnley didn't turn up. But, you know, there's a few chances. We said how clear that to have chance was. You know, we did have chances to score a few more. But when you're a little bit low on confidence and you get the lead, you're always going to be a little bit more, your thought process is going to be a little bit more what's behind me rather than what's in front of me. Is what I always think, just from playing football. If there's one goal in it and you'd be losing every week, you're a little bit more. And I felt, apart from that one right at the end, there wasn't too many shaky moments. I thought we defended quite well. And I was happy. I think it was one of them, just win the game. And I really felt it was going to peter out into a draw and we would have been frustrated. So I was delighted with that. And we've got no defensive midfield player. We're playing a player in there that hasn't played 90 minutes yet for the club until this one.
He's still not got various personnel that he needs, Iraola. Like, I mean, look, we are sort of Mr. Positive, aren't we? Like Mr. and Mrs. Positive, whichever one's the woman you can decide. But we are though, aren't we? Because you know we have to be. I mean, if we can't enjoy these moments, look, we have to take the positives out of it. There are things that we can work on, and Iraola will know these. It's just a shame that, in terms of momentum, who's the next game against?
Well, Liverpool in the Cup.
And then who's the next game against in the league?
Man City away.
And who's the game after that?
Newcastle.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but we're in the Premier League, that happens, and it's no one's fault that we didn't pick up points against Everton and Wolves.
It's a shame that we just didn't put in that performance two
against
games
Everton.
ago.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I
then
get
this
that.
confidence would have maybe inspired us to 9 points.
Yeah, no, maybe, and I'm not saying there is no part of me that thinks we're going to get any for the City because we never, ever, ever have.
But could we?
But what I will say is Liverpool rest players on Wednesday. They will. It's a cup game. They're also in Europe. They will rest players. We have beaten Liverpool before this year, by the way. Was it this year? It was this year. Yeah. We've beaten them quite a few times, actually. Yeah. If we were to beat Liverpool and get to a quarter-final, and then forget City, because then if you've beaten Liverpool in the Cup, you put in a decent display against City, and I'm not being funny, Newcastle at home, when we were rubbish, we didn't lose to them last season in the league.
No, we didn't, yeah. And Wolves showed that they are susceptible.
And a lot of teams have this season. And Newcastle, because of Champions League and stuff, and a lot of injuries, and obviously suspension now with Tonali, at home, that's a game we could nick a point, in my opinion. We get through the Cup, we have a decent performance against City, we nick a point off Newcastle, then we go to Sheffield. Yeah, it's all right. Let's just keep the performances in the next few are important for me, because I think that'll breed a bit of confidence rather than results. But we're talking about these fixtures now. Imagine if we hadn't won that game against Burnley. Let's look at the positives from that. And as you say, City haven't won every game this season.
Well, if it's not Iraola, it could always be Hasenhüttl. What was he doing there?
Yeah, I don't know why hasn't it.
Do you reckon he was there for them, or just wanted to watch a game, or what?
Well, yeah, I was trying to think of a way, because you forget that ex-managers are just people. He's been out of the game. He's been out of the game and you always see when managers have been out. I can't remember what game it was the other week. And Dean Smith, the ex-Villa and Brentford, was just randomly in the punditry bit, which I haven't seen him much, and he's probably trying to get himself back out there. Yeah. And he's probably, he's a football man, Hasenhüttl. And I was looking at that guy. He's probably still down this way. Yeah. He was at Southampton. There's also two ex-Southampton players that come on, Jay Rodriguez and Nathan Redmond, which is obviously an extra bit that he thinks, I can watch them as well. Yeah. But it's a game with two managers under pressure. This could be one of a job that comes available soon. Do I like these teams? Would I put my CV in? I don't want to read too much into it. But it's not 100%, but I was told by someone that sits next to me, it's Ralph over there, and I had a look, and to me, that was definitely him. But yeah, we don't know why, but nice for him to he'd come every week if we get a win, mate. But I think we've got to be positive. It has been doom and gloom lately, and we haven't been able to shy away from that. We always try and be upbeat and look to the next game, but it's been hard. It's been really hard because of the performance levels and other stuff. So it's really nice to just enjoy this moment, to be honest, of winning a game, and a game that I felt we deserved to win. And what I've got to say going into the fixtures, mate, Radu has to play in goal on Wednesday. We know that. Yeah. How many games has Radu lost in the Bournemouth shirt?
Sweet FA.
How many games has he won?
All of them.
Every single one. Try and get past the wall, Liverpool. Try and get past the wall.
Who was your man? Because there must have been like a load. Because there's a Twitter one, there's a one inside the stadium, there's your Telegram one, there's a Who Scored one, which we'll go on to.
Yeah, I don't want to go against. That'd be interesting. I don't want to go against Phil Bill, because I totally get why he got it in the stadium, and I totally get why he got it on Twitter as well, because he played well anyway. I thought he was playing well, one of our good players, and then that moment of genius gets us 3 points. So in that sense, he probably does deserve it. If I'm taking away goals, then Alex Scott's my man of the match. You can make a case for Aarons, you can make a case for Semenyo, you can make a case for Tav, you can make a case for Kelly. There were so many good performances. So yeah, that was just nice. But personally for me, I get Billing, but I would have just given Alex Scott. What about you?
Yeah. I agree with Alex Scott, and this leads us on to the Who Scored ratings, which is done statistically using their special algorithm.
Maybe Billing will get it because of the goal. Because of how far out it is, I don't know if that plays a part in Who Scored. I don't know. Let's have a look.
Antoine Semenyo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
7.8. Billing was close by on 7.5.
Tav
but
as
yeah,
well.
Semenyo was up there. So yeah.
Tav, Scott.
Yeah.
Aaron's got the good ratings. That's good. Oh, that looks good for me. I'm just looking at theirs and look how low their right back is. I thought because you remember we were saying in the preview about their right back being suspended, and they brought in this Coutinho, and I did think he struggled. So I'm always like it when I just watch a game and think he doesn't look very good, and then the ratings show he was bad. But that's always interests me. So you would say Trafford being off his line causing problems. He gets a good rating because he gets so many passes for a goalkeeper.
So it's not.
So it is very stat based.
The eye test is in line with that.
But yeah, in general, that's kind of and I'm buzzing for Antoine as well, mate. And it wasn't just the goal.
No,
so I'm really glad he gets that rating because he's someone that with all the signings, I thought he's gonna go off. I'm not sure if he's gonna play much.
He's brilliant. I think so. We had 3 ex-Bristol City players on the pitch.
Yeah, I tell you
as
what,
their manager departs this weekend.
But I tell you what, 3 second applause for Bristol City Football Club. What a club!
Yeah,
Alex Scott, Lloyd Kelly, Antoine Semenyo. As long as we don't give us Nigel Pearson as well,
we won't
happy days. Yeah, but he has gone, hasn't he? As well as Ainsworth at QPR, so a few little moves there. Could Pearson go to QPR? I was having to think of that. I just thought, I wonder if there's a little, at least our manager fights another day. Really, really pleased for him.
Yeah, we saw a performance that was brave. It was aggressive, and I think more often than not, that performance this season should see us grab some points against the sides that we need to. The press was a lot better. Yeah. It was very positive all round, and look, we're getting shots on goal as well. And when you've got Semenyo in, he's always a goal threat. If you haven't seen it yet, along the bottom of the screen, there's always this little thing that pops up. Oh, there it is now, telling you about the sponsorship or backing back of the net. Now, you can do so for a minimum of like £3 a month. That's all it is. And what that does, you can do it via our Ko-fi page. The link's at the bottom there. It's ko-fi.com/AFCB podcast. When you go on there, you can do a one-off, but being a monthly enables you to go in our Telegram chat group as well. You get a few extras like show input, also the bloopers. We haven't made some bloopers in a while.
All right lately,
yeah, we do. We might have one from the start of today's show.
Yeah.
we'll put that one in there.
Yeah, good show.
And also Tom's exclusive player ratings show as well. Yeah. And that's you sort of when you've calmed down on the day after, you spend 10 minutes or so just going through it. And what that does is it helps to you finance all of the things we need to run this channel. Now,
tell you what, with that weather, I bet that camera's in a bit of...
Mate, so
I was worried because
this is filmed on my spare camera at the moment.
Yeah, I was
going to say... The other one is, I'm not sure.
Because we had a problem before, didn't we, with the camera, that when it was... I can't remember what game it was, but it got too much water in it. Yeah. And I was looking at that weather going, Sam's stuff there.
So if you can help us out, it's
we do really appreciate
450 quid for
so one-off payment. No, we do appreciate all the support, though.
If you can help.
I'll tell you what, nice little, in that Telegram chat, nice little community in there as well.
Yeah,
we have,
good.
and it's always nice. It's a bit like when you see it on social media after a win that everyone's just, you look at the messages and everyone's in good spirits. So yeah, really, really nice. I'd appreciate any of that. And yeah, we might need some more equipment after that weekend.
Look, the main thing to know is that all the money's go back into the channel.
Yeah, of course.
All of it. So thank you so much for
still waiting for a wage
support. Yeah, yeah, exactly. At some point, it will come. So look, we talked about how good Chris Mepham is. We've talked about Max Aarons. There's barely a player that hasn't had a mention. That's how good everyone was. I think.
And I'll tell you what, the player that I've just realised I haven't mentioned as much is a player we mention every single week, Dom Solanke. Yeah, and Dom Solanke was brilliant.
Good point. Yeah,
he was brilliant. But what I will say is, when that shows how good we were, that we're not all talking about Dom, because normally we go, weren't very good today. At least Dom done his bit. Whereas this time, Dom was fine, by the way, but there were people that actually outstood him, which is very unlikely. Yeah. So Dom done everything brilliantly, as he always does. But yeah, nice to see more of some other players coming into it as well. And yeah, as I say, I'll tell you what, Alex. People talking about Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. We're gonna win something. I'll tell you what,
Jacob Tanswell on Twitter made a shout. He's going to be playing for England within the next 2 years.
Listen, Euros. Declan Rice in front of the back four with Jude Bellingham and Alex Scott either side.
Oh my God.
Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka.
Shall I close off with a few stats for you?
Max Aarons. Yeah, go on.
That's the first game since West Ham that we've had the higher XG of the teams. Burnley had an XG of 0.03 between the 11th and 90th minute. Which was poor.
Reminds me of Ina Radu.
Scott was successful with 5 out of 6 take-ons. Tavernier won 8 out of 8 tackles. And Bournemouth are plus 2 points on the corresponding games last year, switching Leicester for Burnley.
Nice little switch up that. Hopefully for Burnley fans, they won't be switching again. Leicester on fire. I want to quickly say, while you mentioned that, just because we haven't, you mentioned about Tav. I didn't know that stat, won 8 out of 8 tackles, which is obviously perfect. I thought that was a part of his game that we all know what he can do going forward. He obviously missed a big chance. But without Kirkes, it meant that Tav had to have a little bit more going backwards, and I thought he was so good at it. He's not known for that, but I thought his tenacity in the tackle and like working back and just making it difficult and helping Lloyd out at times, and then he was on the other side. I thought he was brilliant at that. And I think sometimes for an offensive player, because Semenyo done it as well, that sometimes goes, you forget about that.
Yeah, very true.
But he would have, Andoni would have loved the way he pressed and his energy was. I thought Tav was exceptional.
So, what we got coming up? Premier League show on Tuesday. There's going to be no fan cams after the Liverpool game, but there will be a reaction from us on this channel. That'll be on the Wednesday. Vlog on the Thursday, and Friday we are into our preview content ahead of some club from Manchester that beat another team from Manchester.
I don't want to go. I don't want to play Man City away.
It's going to be fun. Look, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. However you've absorbed this hour of happiness, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, give a positive review on the podcast app. Do whatever you can do. And Tom, Liverpool awaits.
And I tell you what, this one actually has been a pleasure, mate.
Up the cherries.
Watching Alex Scott put it on the show. Oh, get in.
I didn't know that one because I went in the tent afterwards. I'm singing
You're a disgrace.
next time.
You're a disgrace. Oh, City away.